Rogers TV. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is Mayor Ross Kentner of Meaford. And as always, it's a pleasure to have Ross with us because things are happening in Meaford, right, Ross?
They are. We're very excited, to say the least, David. And as the summer approaches, it's not very summer-like today, but as it approaches, we are getting closer and closer. I can tell you downtown Meaford is starting to sparkle. And I saw a picture on Facebook today of the town hall, Meaford Hall, with its celebratory bunting and its newly finished front doors, and it's pictured from one of the Main Street patios, which is all festooned in greenery and so on. So I think, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make a prediction right now. I believe that Meaford is going to be Georgian Bay's patio capital before long, because we have two more patios coming when the fire hall opens behind the Meaford Hall. We are still hoping for the 1st of July. So that will be, they will have a patio in front of the 3 Half Moon doors, where the fire trucks used to be, and I would assume the hose wagons would have been before or back in the day when that was our fire hall. And there's also going to be a patio on the roof area of a new addition that was put on it some years ago when fire trucks were too big to go in those 3 doors. So there'll be an elevator up to that one, and we just passed some business on Monday's council meeting to facilitate the development of the patio at the front, which will partly be on the road allowance.
Right. Well, if I'm not mistaken, those early fire trucks were horse-drawn.
They were.
There are no horses involved in these patios, are there?
No.
Well, it's in some ways it's a shame that there isn't a fire engine from that era. I know a number of municipalities have kept one, or it's in Grey Roots or something. I know the one in Owen Sound's at Grey Roots, but
we do have
that
one.
would be a real tourist attraction.
Yes, we have an older fire reel which always comes out for parades. And I'm sure we'll come out in our 150th parade a little later in the year here. I guess it's not that far away. It's going to be June the 15th.
Right.
Yes. But I had a little story that I thought I'd share with you, because this is something that's important to me, and I thought you'd like to hear it, I hope. We had a ribbon cutting, and there's lots of ribbon cuttings all the time. Every Saturday, it seems there's a ribbon cutting somewhere during the day. And I was invited to one last Saturday. And I was so impressed that to that ribbon cutting came the Warden of Grey County, the CAO of Grey County, and Krista Linthorne from the OPP. And I was thinking, boy, this is really special. And I was required to say a few words. And so this is basically what I said. What we have here today is a community functioning as it should, a community functioning as it should. And the reason I say that, this story started a few years ago when 2 young lads had trouble keeping their bikes together and had nobody but themselves to rely on, and they got started repairing bikes. They live in Victoria Village, which is Grey County housing here in Meaford. And they ended up at a program put on by the OPP. What do they call it? The Ride Smart and Cycling Education Program. And these 2 lads, and their names are Lucas Van Horn and Tyler White, they really impressed Adam Belanger. Adam is stationed in Aurelia, but he wears a lot of hats, important hats, with the ministry and the OPP. But at any rate, they made an impression on him. And so he pulled some strings and arranged for tools and a manual for them. And so they got sort of into business on their own there down at Victoria Village. And most recently, this officer arranged through Grey County Housing an actual workshop for the boys in the housing development. So that's what we were cutting the ribbon for. And I said, the first thing that impresses me is when you get two young fellows showing that kind of initiative, it tells you that they have good parents. It tells you that they're living in a community that supports them. And that support really went a long way in the last few days when all these important people came to share in their experience of starting their own business. And in Meaford, we have had a lot of entrepreneurs, about Dragon's Den and so on. But I think these are the first entrepreneurs who are still in school. And through some of the people who have supported them have been, as well as Grey County, the second tier, the municipality of Meaford, the first tier, also the Rotary Club, and also Hills, which is Meaford's professional cycling shop. And they have stepped up and have been doing work with the boys to make sure that they really do know their stuff, and they're going to continue to look over their shoulder. And I believe that the municipality of Meaford is arranging to make sure that they are not working for nothing this summer.
Actually, that's a very interesting story, because I don't know, you're too young for this, Ross, but I remember the days when I would get my bike out and I would make sure all the nuts were tight and the spokes were good, and put a little oil on the chain and all that good stuff.
Throw a sprocket in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great fun, But that was it. We tuned our bikes up.
I did that sort of. I squirted lots of oil, but beyond that, I never had a sort of a mechanical bone in my body, which is why I used my voice in my career, not my hands.
Well, the boys are to be commended for this kind of work.
They are, and so it's called,
are the supporters.
Yes, it's called the TLC Bike Shop. And immediately I thought, oh, tender loving care, of course. And that's the conclusion that Warden Milne jumped to. But no, it's for the boys' names, as I say, Tyler White and Lucas Van Horn, two fine young men who are going to make a name for themselves.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. And hey, I can just see it now. There'll be a new sticker for bicycles in Meaford that'll say tuned by TLC.
That's a great idea. That's pretty good. Anyway, I'm sure looking forward to the progress, and it also, I have to be honest with you, I've often been a critic of our school system. I just haven't been fond of the way the province basically took away the power of local trustees. However, I'd have to say that clearly some good things are happening in our local education system when two young men like this can become entrepreneurs at such a young age.
Absolutely. And if you want to, I believe we've got the Board of Education on before the end of our season at the end of June, but if not, we'll certainly be talking to them in the fall, and I'll try and remember to raise this. How are they teaching entrepreneurship? And this is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Well, speaking of stuff happening in Meaford, I guess the big news, at least politically, is a new CAO.
Absolutely, this is big news. When we started out on the search for a CAO, we were, at least personally, I was thinking, boy, it would be nice to resolve this in 3 months. And then I said to myself, in your heart of hearts, it's going to be, 9 months. And it was. It took longer than we thought. And the interesting thing is our successful candidate was living here all along. And she is extremely well credentialed and qualified for this role. I could read you a lot from her, curriculum vitae, but I just say, she's had experience at the municipal level, at the provincial level, at the federal level. She's had experience with the Canadian Forces in the private sector. She's had experience in the nuclear sector. Just so many areas that, and she is, she's a team builder, a game changer, and I think somebody who will inspire. I keep hearing her, oh, we have such a wonderful team. We have such wonderful people. And I believe that, and I know that. So it's just a matter of that leadership that is needed and that team building. And as I've said before, this is not something that the mayor and council can do. It is not our job to run the municipality. It is our job to oversee it. That's the role of the CAO and the other members of the leadership team, is to, inspire and get people working together and make things happen. And honestly, everything important happens. It's just we'd all like to see a little more cohesiveness, a little more, and I have to emphasize the cultural change or shift that we're looking for is just more customer service. People need permission to, give customer service, and I'm not sure that we always gave it, and that's what we're trying to do now.
Now, her name is Kim Buckham, correct?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
we got to get her name in there. But it sounds like she will be a good fit. I know that from talking to other mayors and members of council on this show, they've all said, and there have been quite a number of job hirings across the region over the last year or so. They universally said it took a lot longer than we anticipated. And because there is apparently a scarcity of qualified applicants, but they're out there, but it just takes longer to get.
I think what I would say is that there are a lot of municipalities, and it's just like the radio business. You're looking for talent, and so the people who have the talent, the people skills in particular, and all the theory and experience. Those people are in high demand. That's all I would say, and it took us a little while to find somebody so close at hand, but we're really thrilled now. And she's amazing. Saturday morning, she took over at McGinty's and bought everybody coffee, everybody who came. at least I think that was the idea. She
except for the mayor. Except for the mayor, he had to buy his own cup.
I didn't go because I was otherwise occupied. I offered, but she said, "No, I'll be fine," and she was. I mean, she had a big crowd of people come to meet her, and that's really good because what I found in the past was that. I'd like more of our senior team to be to have a public profile, to be known for who they are, and that has been happening. They've been having open houses and meeting with ratepayers and so on quite a frequent basis over the last 2 or 3 years. But I think this is a sort of a first when the CAO says, "Well, yeah, now that I'm in this job, come on down Saturday morning, have a coffee and meet me," and that's fabulous. The other thing is, before her start date, which was the 15th of May, she was around and she had hit the ground running. She was, doing all kinds of jobs. And the truth of the matter is, David, you can't go through the exercise we have gone through over the last 8 or 9 months. First of all, without a lot of help from existing staff, and I take my hat off to Matt Smith, our clerk and acting CAO for the last number of months, has done a wonderful job. But everybody was wearing multiple hats, and we have lost just a little ground on a couple of important fronts. And one of them is our STR, our bylaw for short-term rentals. What people don't understand, we have everything lined up, except there's no sense having a bylaw that you can't enforce. And we have got an enforcement department, I think, on a regular basis of 1.5 people. Meaford is only a little bit smaller than the whole city of Toronto. I'm not talking about the greater GTA. I'm talking about the city of Toronto. That's a big area. 500 kilometers of miles and kilometers of roads and so on. And there's a lot of STAs in our community. We need an enforcement plan, and we're working on it. And hopefully, it is going to involve one or more of our neighbors in an agreement to share resources. That kind of thing takes a little time to pull together. And that's the only thing that we are short at the moment, but we have to be sure that we are able to enforce the bylaw when we put it in play.
Indeed, I think it's fine to have an STR bylaw, but the second part is you got to be able to enforce it. and before you get to there, you've got to get the registrations all in order. So
yeah, that's another part.
That's a big part for the clerk.
Yeah. So I'm just asking people to be to understand that we are not that far from completing this exercise, and we've worked at it diligently. But at the same time, the majority of the work really falls upon the staff, and the staff has been in a state of I wouldn't say a state of flux, but a state in which everybody was doing more than they're accustomed to doing, and wearing some new hats, and that reduces the capacity of the whole organization to a certain degree. And we knew that when we took this on, but at the end of the day, it was council's unanimous decision that we wanted to start at the top and really try to find the CAO who we believe will take Meaford into the future.
And it's worth saying again, and I've said this before, is that the CAO is the sole employee of council, and it is the CAO who sets the tone.
Beg your pardon?
It's the CAO who sets the tone.
Yeah, exactly. And there are other directors and department heads and people with important functions, but they need that leadership, and they need to be built into a team so that everything is sort of working like this, rather than, and sometimes it's working like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's hard. It's hard on people. And I don't think any of us who've ever worked have been totally happy in every organization that we worked in. And oftentimes it's just a matter of finding the right leadership to get everybody on the same page and behind the same things and working together.
Well, as I've said to you before we started, open invitation for Kim to come on the show and for conversation, but that'll be the fall.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she will be more than happy to join us, and that'll be great.
Great, terrific. And
by then, by the fall, we'll have a report card because she'll be doing have accomplished a lot by then, I know.
Good. Well, let's move on to something else that is a little different from Meaford. You've been celebrating Accessibility Week, and you've got an accessibility flag.
Well, and we are the only Grey County first-tier municipality with our own accessibility committee. The other first-tier municipalities, 8 of them, are all basically subscribing to the assistance of the second tier with its accessibility committee. I think this is a little bit like our health and wellness report. We decided that Meaford was so large geographically that it would be important to do our own study of health and wellness and to tailor solutions just a little closer to home. And I know that it made a lot of sense. Gray and Bruce, I think, went together on a health and wellness program. It's the same thing with accessibility. We know where the where the problems are as far as accessibility is concerned and what needs work on. And the other thing is we have dedicated volunteers who work at it. And I think we've brought Meaford a long way. And I'm talking here the whole municipality of Meaford, rather than sort of just kept up. And I think that that's the reason we've done it, and we're proud of it.
Good. Well, it's the other thing I noticed is, and I've noticed this in a number of the municipal press releases, is that you can each are able to change the color of lights on your water tower.
Yes, we do that.
Is there any plan to that, or is it just sort of something that goes along?
Yeah, there's a plan. At Grey County very recently, there was a debate on whether or not the county should have a sort of whether they would authorize the warden to call the shots on whose flag gets flown when, or and it was readily and quickly agreed that this should be a first-tier function, that it's up to the local municipality, not the county, to determine whose flag will fly what week, and whether you like the water tower or not. But we've been doing this for a long time, and yes, there is a plan, and I believe staff has there's probably a policy, and staff is following the policy, so it's been working fine.
Meaford's version of the CN Tower.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And speaking of recreations and such, I noticed that you have had us, or Meaford has our subsidy program for residents, but it's so popular. You've got that horrible problem. You're over budget.
Yeah. I think that what has happened is that we lowered the threshold simply because of rising inflation. And also, I think that this was back during COVID, and I think that the epidemic, put pressures on a lot of families financially for whatever reason. It wasn't exactly the same as inflation, but other factors, and as a result, we're probably going to have to come back and lower that again. And I think that, in fact, that's what our motion was for most recently here. But now we've come to a point where we have to actually bolster the amount of money that we have in the fund, so that we're not actually cutting it off before the year is out, or saying, no room at the end, sort of thing. So I think we're going to do fine here.
Is that because, also because Meaford doesn't, well, let's put a positive spin on it. You share recreational facilities across municipal boundaries. There are young people may go play soccer in Owen Sound, or they may go to Town of Blue Mountains for something. Is that a part of it too?
I think it is. I think that we've never discouraged people from using facilities that they're closer to, but it's just a matter that because of the economic stress that's quite prevalent, we're trying to make the threshold for these things affordable for families. And it's very hard to please everybody in these situations, but I think we're just trying to move ever closer to satisfying everybody's needs that way. It's a healthier community if people are participating in young people in sports, but also people who are disabled, people who like we talked about accessibility there. So I think we're just it's a good thing to be flexible with these things and not be hidebound, or not be saying, well, the wells run dry. The truth is, the well can be replenished from a source that is related to it. So these funds are coming from our health and wellness reserve anyway, and so it's being spent as it was intended to be spent.
Is it cheaper for a municipality to subsidize recreation opportunities in other municipalities as opposed to build its own facilities and run its own programs?
Um, yeah, I would say so. Like, for example, one of the things that has gone up in cost recently has been running the Blue Dolphin swimming pool. But the reason for that is that we have contracted the Community Y in Owen Sound to administer the program there. And that was a result of a real problem attracting qualified lifeguards for the summer. And it's just a function of that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so, and while it is costing more, I think we're getting a higher degree of quality service there. And certainly any young people in Meaford who qualify as lifeguards can work through the Y. But so yeah, I could go on all day on this particular topic, but I think that we're on the right track here, and I hope that as time goes by, we will continue to do the things. We are like both the swimming pool and our arena are nearing the end of their useful life, but they do have we're nourishing and reinforcing them all the time. And they will last us for a good few years yet. And when the time comes, I think Meaford will be in a better position to afford some of these things. Right at the moment, there are a lot of much more critical infrastructure needs to do with housing and hard services and so on.
So at some point, and maybe not in your term, we will see an arena proposed or new pool or recreation facility?
I'm absolutely sure we will. And I'm also sure that when that time comes, that there will be fundraising in the community that will be very successful, because it always has been. And I'm hoping too that because of some of the growth and development happening, there will be less of a burden on the taxpayer to acquire those things. And ultimately, if something such as the Ontario Pump Storage happens, there will be a windfall that will help in that kind of thing as well.
Sure. So, you mean you and I may not see it, but it'll come.
I don't expect that it'll be on my term, but I certainly hope that I see it. I'm not predicting it being that far away. I'm just saying that it's not on the immediate horizon.
Okay. Well, just as long as we don't start calling it the Ross Kentner Memorial.
Thank you. I thought it was pretty funny there when you were suggesting that you were older than I am at the beginning.
We'll leave those matters of age and wisdom for others to decide. Anyway, we're coming up on our break, but I just wanted to ask you, we're just almost 2 years into your term. And maybe when we come back after the break, we'll go into this a little deeper, but after 2 years, are things going as well as you expected?
Yes, I'm happy. I am. I think that we've accomplished a lot. In particular, we are much better prepared for whatever the eventuality is respecting the pump storage project. We're in a much better position, much stronger position. We are going to be the regulators in this situation, and that is far better in my mind than being bulldozed over.
Okay. Well, my voice is telling me we got to take a break, so we'll come back in a moment. And please join us, friends. I'm David Shearman. This is Politically Speaking.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This is Rogers TV.
We invite you to play What's My Line?
Welcome, Mrs. Baker. Those folks over there need to guess your extraordinary occupation.
Are you an entertainer, Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Do people come to watch you, perform?
Yes.
Do you travel for work?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever wear a special type of costume?
Yes.
Is your job, physical?
Yes, indeed.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Are you a professional baseball player?
Yes, I am.
Created during the Second World War, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League included 68 Canadians. One of its brightest stars was my mother, Saskatchewan's Mary Bonnie Baker, a pioneer for women in sports.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Hi, and welcome back to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest is Mayor Ross Kentner. I got to get that out there. Mayor Ross Kentner of Meaford. And Ross, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We were talking at the break, just at the break, about some of the things that you know, after 2 years, you're thinking, okay, I think we're in a good place on this file. And it was the pump storage project. And that's a great place to jump in for the second half, in that, okay, where are things with pump storage as we sit today?
So I think that we're probably at this particular, in this week, I think we're at a point where things are very, very much up in the air. There's been a lot of, politically speaking, there's been a lot of politics involved in this right now. This project will only go ahead, move forward with the full support of the provincial and federal governments, and they have to work together on this, I think. And I foresee that happening, but it also couldn't. And right at the moment, I think that there are financial questions that have to be resolved. The project has to have like a definitive cost number, and just in order to arrive at that cost number is an investment, a significant investment. And so finding the way that's going to be financed, and this is way above my head and out of my realm, but I know that is what is going on. And until that is resolved, I don't think you're going to see a lot happen. In the meantime, we still have to be ready. And there are a lot of, in my mind, unanswered questions in the public mind in and around Meaford. And so we have been able to establish our pump storage advisory committee. This was born with a little discomfort, but at the end of the day, I am really pleased with how this has played out. It is not easy, but a good number of people, and I think it's around 9 or 10 people, have out of a group of over 30, have been chosen to be on this pump storage advisory committee. This is an advisory committee to council. And what these people have essentially done, they do represent, like they have their own passions. Some are for this, some are against it, some are just wanting their questions answered. Some are experts in the environment, some are experts in other areas, electrical, hydro production, and so forth. Everybody was chosen for their strengths, but every one of them has agreed that they will leave their passion at the door when they come to this committee meeting every month, and they will look at the questions that they feel need to be resolved, need to be investigated, and they will do that dispassionately and respectfully. And I take my hat off to them. That is not an easy thing to do, but it's an essential thing, and I give them full credit for making themselves available to do that. It's going to be a lot of work on their part. They've had one session dealing with learning about the code of conduct for people serving on such committees. They're going to certainly get some indoctrination on Indigenous background. There's other training that they're going to have. And then they're going to have to, have these deliberations. They're going to have to learn a lot about the project. I anticipate a session in which TCE will, lay out all the facts of what their proposal really involves. And I think they'll also want to hear from people, who have strong views about various aspects of it. I just think that this is going to help us be ready. I think it's time to try and dial down the background noise, and let's get answers. Let's satisfy people what the facts are. And I can tell you we have an internal working group that meets every 2 weeks, a group of council, and so that includes some representation from the companies which we have engaged to represent us. There's also a bi-weekly meeting of some of us, the deputy mayor and I, and our sort of designate on the pump storage advisory committee, who is meeting every 2 weeks as well. So it's a lot of meetings, but what we're doing is moving forward, getting used to working together with TCE. And I think the one piece of legal advice that resonated with me was that you cannot, you are in a position to be the regulator here, to have a significant amount of power going forward. But if you do not engage, you will say goodbye to that opportunity. To me, and I think to the majority of council, it made sense that we should be engaged, be alert, learn all we can, help the community come together on this so that we can make decisions collectively and be ready for how this unfolds.
You anticipate that the rhetoric or the passion will get dialed back a bit? Because I know I've watched, and I won't say I participated, but I certainly watched some of the presentations that have been made, deputations that have been made to municipal councils and county, and they're passionate. I mean, people are very passionate about this issue. And certainly some of the things have not been always charitable.
No, far from charitable. I think that what I want to see is I'd like to see that this exercise that we're going through promotes a dialing down of that kind of rhetoric. But it may not be the end. What's important to us is that the group that we have put together to advise us does refrain from that kind of behavior and deals with in facts and is collaborative and responsive to council. We may make some demands of them in terms of questions we want answered, or they will also come to us and say, we have determined this is important for us to establish, and we'll report back to you. I just think that, in other words, I think we're going to be part of the solution, as that's our goal. We want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And it is a problem when so many divisive voices are being heard, and it's all around the bay now. And really, this fundamentally impacts the municipality of Meaford. And I think that we are doing what we believe as a council is the appropriate positioning for us.
And just to be clear, in my own mind, this committee is accountable to council. They are a committee of council. So their loyalty is not to TC Energy. It is not to any other group. It is to council.
Exactly. It's important to know that TCE has been involved in many committees like this, but they will tell you, but we set the committee up, and we were really happy with that. And we said, well, stand back and let us do this ourselves, because this, in our mind, is what we should be doing. This is our job to try and get these answers. And I think there's already adequate proof that a certain number of people are not going to accept anything that TCE says. So these decisions will be made by council based on the information that people bring to us. And I want to stress, to this date, none of the environmental tests have been had. And please, people, our support is conditional on all of the environmental requirements being met. And very soon now, and this is why we're going through all the motions we are right now, very soon, the Federal Impact Assessment Agency is going to start knocking on our door, and they're going to want to hear from everybody, and they're going to want to know what everybody's concerns are, and hear those concerns. So that's, again, one of the reasons why we're just trying to be a step or two ahead of the process and be able to be in a strong position to ensure that as the process unfolds, that the interests of people in the municipality of Meaford are protected.
Sure. Yeah, that's really helpful to hear, Ross, because there's a lot of misunderstanding.
and misinformation as well.
And misinformation. So I think it's important to also say that both the county and Owen Sound have made very similar motions, that any approvals are conditional, very conditional, and I think that's worth repeating. So I won't do it again. The point is that conditional approval does not mean it's set in stone. Not yet. Long way from that.
And you know what? I mean, this project, no matter, in the best of circumstances, it's not happening tomorrow or the next day. It is in the future. It is just, we don't want to dawdle at this point in time. We want to make sure that the decisions are to be made. They can be made based on good hard facts and solid information, and that we will be able to move forward and have some control over the process.
Right. No, well, let's move on to something else, which just very briefly, we talked about it in our last conversation, and that was bridges. And you've got there's been a contract let, and I presume that the bridge work in the Old Holland Township will be starting this summer, correct?
I hope so. That is definitely our desire, and we've worked very hard to get to this point. And I'm so happy that we're going to do this. This impacts a lot of the agricultural community of the municipality of Meaford, which is one of our main drivers, exceedingly important to us. And it isn't just helping them economically, it's to provide safer transport for them. These farmers move a lot of goods, and sometimes in a sort of a precarious way, towed by a tractor or many heavy trucks on the roads. And with these bridges closed, what it means is that they're often dealing with terrible weather conditions, icy roads and so on, and poor visibility on very steep hills. So it's like double jeopardy. And it's so important that we rectify this. And as I say, this council has been working at this longer than I've been on council. But I can tell you that this council is determined to fix this. And we're very, very close to it now. And not only that, what is really pleasing is that we're looking at a dollar figure for the replacement of these two bridges on the town line with Chatsworth at much less cost than was estimated 2-3 years ago.
Well, that actually seems to be a trend that I'm seeing. Here in Owen Sound, the Alpha Street Hill rebuilding came in, was retendered, and it came in at or I guess it was moved to its final stages, and it came in at a huge drop in price. And so this seems to be something that is happening in many ways. Not talking about fire trucks.
No, nor
or ambulances.
No, and not talking about infrastructure in general, but I think what we're talking about here more than anything is a little more aggressive look at options in bridge building. Sure. And I'm not the expert on this. You should talk to Councillor Bartley or Councillor Bell, who've got a lot more experience in this area. But I can tell you that we really encouraged a hard look at, what can you do? And speaking of bridges and also going back to accessibility, if I may, I wanted to mention that I was participating in a ribbon cutting in beautiful Joe Park 2 weeks ago. And one of the people there, her husband was speaking, but she is on a motor scooter. She's got challenges as far as mobility is concerned. And I had my heart in my mouth because I thought we were going to have to push her up the hill to get out of beautiful Joe Park. What the people at beautiful Joe Park are wanting to do is build a bridge, a pedestrian bridge across the Big Head River from Legion Park. And that will provide an opportunity for those who are disabled to actually cross the river safely and enter beautiful Joe Park without having to contend with this huge hill. Fundraising has been going on for a while now, and they're very close to their goal. And I can't wait for this to happen. I think this is going to be another great, example of people in Meaford doing things that, because I can tell you, if you're not familiar with beautiful Joe Park, they have got monuments or at least memorials to pets from all across the States and Canada. There's one from Germany now, I believe it is. And there's statuary there of famous dogs. There's a piece of the Twin Towers incorporated in one of those. There's a lot of interesting, and in this day and age when people's dogs are their family, in many cases, this is an important role that beautiful Joe Park is playing. Plus, kids love that park, and so do adults. It's just one beautiful, restful, relaxing spot, and so look for that in the future too. It's not that far down the road.
Excellent. Well, we have not talked about the Meaford Sesquicentennial so far, but we got stuff to tell. There's a parade coming up.
Yes, July 15th starts at 1 o'clock. It will start at the old high school building at the foot of the St. Vincent Street Hill, and will parade down St. Vincent Street right to the harbor. That's at 1 o'clock. And Meaford has put on some great parades in the past, and I'm sure this is going to be one of the best. At the harbor, all kinds of activities for the rest of the day. It'll be an exciting place to be. And if you don't yet have any Meaford swag, a great opportunity. I never thought I should have my T-shirt on today, but there's a lot of great stuff that you can purchase to remember Meaford's 150th buy and wear, for sure. They have got absolutely stunning mugs. And I've got to get a couple of those because I love my coffee in a big mug. And yeah. June the 23rd, this is another great thing. Next year, both the former St. Vincent and Sydenham townships celebrate their 150th. And they're jumping in to get started with ours, and it'll just continue on for another year in their neck of the woods. So the Bogner Community Center has a strawberry social on June the 23rd, 3 sittings, 11, 12, and 1 p.m. Now, when was the last time you attended a strawberry social, David?
Well, actually, it would have been before COVID, and it would have been at Kilsyth.
Well, that's good. The last Strawberry Social, the first Strawberry Social I was at, I was in a band in Scarborough, playing at Scarborough Bluffs, and I would have just been in grade 9. And the last one I attended, I think, would have been in Lakeview Cemetery in Meaford with the Meaford Citizens Band. And I'm sure there was something that like a Strawberry Social there at one point, and maybe I'm confusing it with Decoration Day. Could be, but I believe I'm not just sure what the location of the Strawberry Social was, but I remember playing in the band for those kinds of things. I miss those days, the band.
Oh, absolutely. And those Strawberry Socials are great community social events. And I've known in the past people will make a point of coming from far away just because of that event, be able to attend and see old friends and family, and they're great events. So it's great to see you having that tradition.
So at the Bogner event on the 23rd, dress any period costume from 1874 to 2024 will be acceptable. So I think I've got one of those frilly, white shirts. I don't have a cummerbund, but I've got one of those shirts. I think I might wear that. After that, July 1st, Canada Day. That's a big day in Meaford. It's at the harbor as well, and that's going to be an outstanding celebration. Civic Holiday Weekend is always a big one for us in Meaford, and that's where the downtown merchants sort of put on the show, and it's always really something. And I just know with all the work that's gone into beautifying the downtown core for this year, it's going to be amazing. MIF this year at Meaford International Film Festival is September 20th to 22nd. It's one day shorter, but a greater variety of important films, actually. And if you go into their website, you can actually preview the films. There's trailers, and boy, gut-wrenching stuff there. These international film festivals really give you a window on our world today, things that you don't see anywhere except in these films. And I think it's going to be very, very, very moving.
Yes.
Plus, great parties, and dinners. So, and then I know that the Scarecrows are going to be out in force again. Their theme this year is the 150th, so that will be awesome.
Well, let's just hope there aren't 150-year-old scarecrows they've dragged out of the haymow or something. that could be a little touchy, but hey, I'm sure the Scarecrow event is absolutely fabulous. So
I can tell you that the Scarecrows have changed a lot over the years. I think we're into over 20 years here, and I think that now they are made a lot more. What would I say? If you have allergies, for example, you don't have to worry about these Scarecrows quite as much as the ones that were filled with straw.
Yeah, and straw does compost, so that's the other side of it. So, but yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great summer.
It's going to be so exciting. I can remember a few years ago, Harley Greenfield, Councillor Greenfield, and I were about the only ones thinking about this. But that's because we're both sort of local historians to a certain degree, and really have an appreciation for the heritage that we have inherited. It's pretty awesome. We're very, very fortunate, and we should celebrate it more. And Meaford, certainly, that downtown Meaford is a beautiful heritage environment in which to enjoy a celebration like this.
We've got about 3 minutes, but I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Are you going to AMO?
I am not. And let me explain why. This is maybe a topic that you wouldn't have thought of, but I am putting a lot of emphasis into change. positive change. That was my my theme in the election, positive change. I've been to AMO once. I know what it's all about. I think it's a great thing, but we've got lots of delegates there, both staff and councillors. I'm probably averaging 20 meetings a week, and these meetings are largely about growth and development. They're with developers and with sometimes just trying to problem solve with some of these people, and other times people are just discovering Meaford. I'm having all kinds of people. And what I do is I take some time, if we have it, and they usually do, I show them Memorial Park, I show them David Johnson Park and Rapers Park, the harbors, the relationship to the Big Head River, and I explain, you know, the Big Head River Valley and all the agricultural things, and I try to, you know, take in some apple orchards, and I visit Meaford Hall with them, show them the galleries, let them see some of the local art, take them upstairs and show them the Opera House. It's just missionary work. It's just trying to interest people in what we have here and find one of the first things I learned is that you can't choose your developers, but I think you have a good opportunity to encourage the developers that you'd like to see come. And also, there's so much right now. There's housing construction at both the north and south side of Highway 26 at our Western Gateway. Skydev is now at work on the waterfront. That waterfront hotel, I think, is going to be open before I leave office, and that's my hope anyway. And that there are just a lot of good things happening, and I'm trying to push and shove and do what I can to promote that.
In other words, you have a very full calendar, which does not include AMO this year.
That's basically it.
I don't think people realize that the fullness of the leader of a municipality, how full their calendar can be. As you say, you don't choose developers; they show up.
Yeah.
And they'll say, "Hi, we've got some plans," and you're going, "Okay, let's talk."
And I like the ones who say, "We don't really know anything about Meaford. Is it a place that we might be interested in investing in?" And those are the people I like to snafu and go to work with them and see if I can give them the gospel according to us. But you know what? I'll give you. I don't know if we got even
we got a minute. Exactly a minute. Go.
Okay, so every one of the developments, housing developments in Meaford at the moment, I think has a particular feature. And if you look at Bay Bounds on the south side of Highway 26, those homes are all going to be net zero. I understand that you can heat and cool them for maybe $150, $200 a month. Sorry. So very, very economical. But the actual development is a condominium. So there are going to be things like common features like pickleball courts and barbecue locations and, that type of thing. So,
and Ross, I hate to interrupt you, but there's telling me we got to go. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the fall. And thank you, friends. I'm David Shearman. This is Politically Speaking. We'll talk again.
Thanks.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com. You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
It's been a long time coming.
You don't win it to keep it, you win it to be a part of its history.
Always knew.
Always hard to see the difference between winning and losing.
How to steal.